My mom didn't know what ass to mouth meant until I said it on stage.
Wait a minute.
I said I like it.
What is happening right now? Has this episode started? You're just riffing right now.
Ronald, you're supposed to save the bizarre
That's your
non-sequiturs
outro.
for the end of the show.
Yeah.
You should tack this on to the end. Episode 61. Episode 61. But yeah, we're going to talk about movies, right?
At some point.
That's all.
That's the horse what brung us, Ronald.
Yeah, it is. It is. What have you guys seen lately? I guess we should talk about that first before we get into the movie we're going to talk about.
I saw a really cool trailer for the new Coen Brothers movie that's coming out sometime in the future.
What's the name of it?
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Cool.
And it appears to be set in the kind of folk music movement of the late 50s, early 60s in New York. And it's, it exudes Coensiness, but it's also, there's something about it that feels like something different for them. I don't know what it is about it that makes me feel that way. Maybe something about the way that it's shot or just the subject matter, but it definitely feels like a movie they haven't made before.
Yeah.
Sure. I saw a documentary called DETROPIA. It's from the filmmakers who Heidi, Ewing, and Rachel Grady, who I actually had the pleasure of hanging out with and meeting when I used to work at a different job for a film that they made called Boys of Baraka about the Baltimore City school system. And this is their new film about basically the city of Detroit and the economy and how industry has left the city, how it's affecting the people. Really cool documentary. Kind of a, I wouldn't say cool because it's kind of a downer, but it's really a kind of a quick snapshot look of what's going on there and how it's not just there, but it's just like a point of it's an area of the country that used to be thriving in a certain area, and to see how deeply affected it is. To the point where they're actually paying people to move out of the city in certain areas. It's just insane to see that happen.
Yeah, to see that kind of an urban center that has basically just become like a shell.
Yeah.
It really is. Have you ever been to Detroit?
I've been through Detroit when I used to tour with my band. I've never really hung out in the city, but just even passing through and playing where we played there, it doesn't take long to see that it's that. I mean, it's worse now, but it's not a place I want to hang out.
Yeah, I was only there once, and it definitely had like a ghost town kind of vibe to it.
It absolutely does.
Like the way Baltimore is at night, Detroit seems to be during the day.
All the time. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah, I don't know. Detropia is on. I think it's on a couple on-demand sources right now, but it's getting it's a really small film, maybe a couple releases here and there. But I'd check it out. I like their films in general. They also did Jesus Camp, which I think got nominated for an Oscar. But really cool filmmakers, and I always check out their work, and it's definitely didn't disappoint me yet again. Cool. What else? I also finally saw This Is 40, which I actually did quite like. I mean, I don't know if my expectations were lowered from hearing so much middle to lower responses from friends and family, but I kind of liked it.
Did it feel long to you?
It really didn't feel long to me. And I don't know if it's because I knew it was long and I'm like, I'm preparing for it to feel long.
Well, I think everyone's been over-reporting the length. It's actually like 2 and 15.
2:15, yeah.
But people have been talking about it like it's one of those holiday movies that we've been sort of half complaining about the running time. Like it's a little long for the type of movie that it is, but it's not ridiculously long. It's not Funny People long.
Funny People long was crazy.
No,
I
not at
believe
all.
that movie was that long.
No, I thought This Is 40 was, in the end, better than I was beginning to think it would be based on the kind of lukewarm response people had for it. But my thought was just, I think I wanted it or expected it to be a little bit more universal. It's much more of a very specific story of this couple. Like, it's not something like, as a person who's pushing 40, I can tell you that some of that stuff was really relatable, but some of the stuff was very specific to this particular kind of life of privilege these people were living. Yeah. And so it wasn't as identifiable as I maybe wanted it to be. But there are key moments that were extremely relatable from a dealing with a marriage and being in a long marriage and what you do to keep things interesting. With those actors and with Judd Apatow as a writer and director, you're not going to end up with a movie that doesn't have a few really funny moments and scenes in it. But yeah, something about it just felt sort of good, not great for me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was some really funny parts in it, but yeah, nothing outstanding. But I did enjoy it. I also finally saw Tim Burton's Frankenweenie, which I actually really liked.
So did Henry.
Yeah, I mean, I figured he probably would. We have similar tastes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I've actually watched it twice in the past week just
Really?
to see it. Yeah, I don't know. I really love films like that, and I like
see
Tim Burton. I liked the Frankenweenie short years ago that I saw when I was younger. But it just the voice talent in it, I think, is great. All the kids are really fun in it, and I don't know. It just feels. It like oozes the pieces of Tim Burton that I really like in most of the scenes in the film, and I feel like from some of his live action films in the
Which
past,
we really haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, and
like
you know,
that kind of that super Tim Burton-y goodness. We really haven't
exactly.
seen that in a while.
And I was about to just say that, like, I haven't seen it in a lot of his like live action films in quite a bit, and you know, it almost made me kind of like tap into how I still feel anytime I watch like Edward Scissorhands. It's got that magic to it, you know, and I was a little worried to see how they would pull this into a feature length film, but I loved it, and you know, I'm kind of glad to see it's
two
got
movies
recognition.
this year. Tim Burton.
What was the other one?
Dark Shadows.
Oh yeah,
came
Dark
out.
Shadows,
Yeah.
which I wasn't a huge fan of, but Frankenweenie, I if you haven't checked it out, Ron,
I haven't. I
it's
really
good,
want
man.
to.
I check it out. It's good.
I didn't see it. Henry watched it with his mom, but I'll say with my wife Nikki. That sounds like we're divorced if I say he watched it with his mom. But it's funny. He's been wanting to watch it with me since he saw it. Like, he keeps asking me, "Are we going to watch Frankenweenie today, Dad?
Really?
Are we going to watch?" So it's like it's the first time. Usually it's me trying to force a movie on him, but now this is him, you know, saying, "You got to see this, Dad."
Really?
But no, it's funny, that one came out, and I almost feel like people weren't paying attention to it. But everybody I know who's seen it has felt the way you do about it, Steve. Like, everybody has come to me and said it was great, or it was, you know, like, again, if you're a Tim Burton fan, this is kind of the movie you've been waiting for.
No, I mean it has great. It's got like an 88 or 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it's definitely you know, a well received film, and I'm not 100. I don't want to say this without checking as I'm saying it, but didn't it get nominated for an Oscar? Is it in the animation category? Yeah, it did. It got nominated. It got, because I'm second guessing myself thinking about the Golden Globes, but it did get nominated for Golden Globe, and it also received a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, which I think is awesome. And you know, I don't know which film I would pick, but having seen it just now, finally, I really enjoyed Paranorman and Wreck-It Ralph. I don't know which one I would pick because they're all different, you know, to me, but I thought Frankenweenie was really good. I definitely recommend it.
Well, that's a really good sign, because I know you really enjoyed Wreck-It Ralph. So
yeah, and it's because of that Burton factor, like the things that I used to love about older Tim Burton films. That there's something going on, and I think maybe because it's like from a property that he did back when he was really cultivating that style. You know what I mean? And it's all over the movie.
It's almost like when a band goes back and records a song they wrote 20 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of times it sounds like them again.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely. But yeah, check it out, Frankenweenie. I thought it was awesome. Didn't you want to mention another one, Ronald?
Yeah, I saw Holy Motors.
Yeah, you mentioned it a couple or briefly.
Did you see it with English subtitles?
I saw
or like
it with
I did?
English subtitles. And
did it make sense with English
subtitles? It made less sense. So basically, it's a story about a man named Oscar.
The also common story of a man.
Yeah. So Oscar is in a limousine, and he's living all these lives. He has all these costumes in his limousine, and he goes around and executes like a couple things, and then he gets back in his limousine. And
so he's an actor playing
actor
a role. It's multi-layered. It's very. I have to say, having seen it without the English subtitles, it didn't. I don't know if it would lose that much or gain that much, but it was so dreamlike in terms of the way it worked visually that I didn't really feel like I was missing that much. I mean, there's specific scenes where I don't know what people were saying, but it's such a visual feast of a movie that like it almost could have been wordless in my opinion. I mean, it's definitely. But as far as a story, I mean, does it really come together into much of a story? No,
not really. I mean, what you find out is Holy Motors is an organization. That's really all it is. Like, but you still don't know. I can't figure out the meaning of it. Like, I think it's supposed to have some idea about like just how life is very broad and a lot of things are happening simultaneously. And I really don't know the meaning of it, but beyond that idea. But it was cool just seeing him weave through these different things. He was very different people. Like, he was like a gremlin-like character in one scene, and then a normal father that had like taken his kid to a party, and it's very weird. But what it did was because he was all these characters, you got to see these glimpses into these very normal things you see, but you don't think about how significant they are. Like, even though they're small things, like the things that we say and do have an impact. And the fact that he can kind of weave in and out of this stuff is interesting. It was interesting. It had no point. It had no, like, it wasn't resolved in the end, but it was worth seeing. It was like Tree of Life, except I liked it a lot.
Well, sometimes movies are put together that way where they really are like, I mean, it's overly simplified to just say art films.
Purposefully
but
art
where
house.
it's like it's got as much to do with the cinematography and the set direction. I mean, the set design and the costuming, everything is like unified. And sometimes you see a movie like that, and it's just so impressive to me to see the visual achievement when it's such a specific vision. You know what I mean? Like, that just makes me think that everyone must have been working at the height of their craft on that movie. That people doing the costumes and the people doing the lighting, everything's so unified. It just has like it, despite all those kind of different turns the character takes, it still holds together. Or again, like I said, as a visual statement.
I mean, the only constant in the movie is Dennis Levant, the guy that is walking around as Oscar, and then
I just couldn't tell if he was supposed to be playing different characters or if it was all sort of different facets of the same man.
Right. I think, I could. It was his job, though. That was another thing too. Like, it was passed off like their appointments. So that's a thing that his chauffeur, Edith Scobb, she plays Celine. Celine is telling him basically, like, you have to resolve this by this time so we can get back for your next appointment. You want to eat, you have to eat. That was interesting. And then he also, you should see it with English subtitles. It makes a difference, but it is still going to be equally as puzzled.
Well, no, I mean, I could definitely, I enjoyed watching it enough that I would intend to watch it again probably at some point anyway.
Right.
But I say that all the time and then never get around to it. We were kind of talking about that last week when you were talking about John dies at the end. You were saying it's like you don't see yourself really watching it again, even though it seems like a movie you could rewatch. I almost never, if I don't see a movie twice in the theater, I almost never watch it again on home video. You know? I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just there's too many new things to watch.
Yeah.
Did you see Holy Motors yet?
No, I haven't seen it. I do want to see it. I have access to it in some way, shape, or form, but I accidentally turned it on actually when I went to watch Frankenweenie, and I was like, "This isn't Frankenweenie," and then I stopped it, but I never went back to it.
You said it like an old man.
Wait a minute.
That's what I do when I watch movies.
Wait a goddamn minute.
That's how I talk.
Cool.
No, I'll check it out though. It looks pretty cool. Although batshit crazy, but I'll commit and check it out.
Cool. That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, we're going to move on to our feature film just to kind of, we glazed over a couple that we saw otherwise. But John and I were able to check out an advanced screening of the new film Warm Bodies, the new film from Jonathan Levine. Some people might know him he did a film last year with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt called 50-50, which I actually really enjoyed. And this is a new film from him, who he actually wrote the screenplay as well.
Isn't it based on a book?
Yeah, it's based on a book by Isaac Marion that came out, I think, in 2007 or 2008. It's kind of coming out amongst this whole zombie thing. I mean, it's like basically like a zombie love story in a way. We're kind of thrown into a world with Nicholas Hoult plays our lead zombie, whose name is R, and this is
because that's all he can remember is that his name started with an R.
With an R. Yeah, there's a narration provided by him throughout the film, and he's aware of things going on, but he's not able to express them because he's a zombie. That is until he meets Teresa Palmer's character Julie, who does something to him, and it kind of ignites this piece that may be making him come back to some sort of human form.
It does a few things differently than any zombie movie before that I can think of. As far as taking the zombies' point of view to this degree, I thought that's something that I expected somebody would have done a long time ago.
Sure.
And the other thing was the sort of notion that there might be a cure. Those notions play more heavily into this than they do in most zombie movies. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I would say all told, it's a cute movie. it doesn't really work as a zombie movie. The emotional part works pretty well, but I feel like the sort of zombie movie mechanics of it, it doesn't quite hold together.
It's pretty fast and loose with of what most
speaking
people...
of fast and loose, I don't know if these are fast zombies or slow zombies.
right.
The movie makes a point of how slow the zombies are at points for humorous purposes, and then there's a few scenes where they're basically your 28 days later kind of rage zombies.
Like basically when they're like going after their food or whatever.
Yeah. And you can make the argument that when they're on the kill, they're more vicious, but still, I felt like that was something that the movie could have played around a little bit more with making that feel more specific, because it felt just like the zombies are slow when it's funny, but when it's scary for them to be fast, we're going to make them fast. The other thing that was cool that this movie did was the sort of hierarchy amongst the zombies, the ones that have been not so much dead longer, but the ones who've gone longer without eating. They seem to go a little bit crazy, and they become a little bit more evil. So you sort of have good zombies and bad zombies in this movie,
okay.
And that kind of gives you a little bit more of your typical. Like you can sort of see how you've got these likable zombies. You can sort of see how they're different from the really nasty ones. But
gotcha.
But they're all eating flesh. Nicholas Hoult was good.
Yeah, I like him. I liked him in X-Men First Class.
Yeah,
he played Beast.
And anyone who doesn't know, he was the child actor in About a Boy. And he was also really good in that.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
that he's the same. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, get used to those things. Get used to those things that make you feel old, Steve.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you, John. Fuck.
It's coming.
I really liked About a Boy too.
There's a lot of. I think it's funny that like when we came out of the theater, like yourself, me, and like a couple of our friends, like everybody was like, "That was cute."
Yeah, cute.
Or that was adorable.
Which is kind of a mom word.
Yeah, it is, but it really does kind of play more towards like almost like a rom-com than it does pay any true detail to like a zombie movie.
And it's in fact what you're saying there is so true, because the moments when the romantic comedy starts to work the most, the nagging feeling I had was, but we're in a post-apocalyptic zombie world, and the stakes should feel higher and more dramatic.
Right.
It almost felt like we're taking time to deal with this cute romance in a way that felt sort of appropriate to what the movie was trying to do. But if I put myself in the shoes of anyone in that movie, it seems like you've got much bigger fish to fry than what's going to happen with these young lovers. Now, in the end, if it has something to do with the fact that perhaps zombies can be cured, it does have ramifications.
That's where I think the play is.
But I think that they do everything they can to get to that moment without really presenting a scenario that really feels like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like, again, if you've watched, say, The Walking Dead or something like that, which definitely has its problems, but that show is much more interested in the day-to-day mechanics of surviving a zombie apocalypse. This is kind of like the zombie apocalypse is already over, and the people are living in a walled off city, and the zombies are just kind of outside that.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of liked it. I think it's kind of hard, like for a movie like this to really to kind of either in terms of marketing or kind of get an audience to commit to it, because I think there's obvious like undertones of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing going on throughout the film, even with our character named R, and we have Julie, and there's a scene where he's like talking up to her on a balcony. There's a lot of like weird little things that happen, like that definitely play more to the romance, and I think that's where you really, I mean, like within 10 minutes of the films start, you kind of see who you assume to be a major character, kind of go bye-bye, at the hands of our true main character, and that kind of, that fuels the fire for like why he is attracted to this girl.
Yeah, and it actually is interesting that they managed to keep. There's a device that allows them to kind of keep a character around after the fact of what happens to them, and that's very tied into kind of thematically something this movie does that's a little different.
Yeah,
and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I did too.
Some of our friends we saw it with didn't seem to like that aspect of it, but I thought the sort of
can we say what that is? I mean, what do you think?
Gosh, Steve, I don't know. What do you think, Schmovie fans? Do you want to go see Warm Bodies completely clean, or do you want to stick around and hear a few mild spoilers? I can't make your life plans for you, but I can tell you that this podcast enters spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1. When the zombies eat someone's brains, they experience their memories.
Oh.
Yeah, because the zombies can't remember anything. Like, he can't even remember his name. But like when they consume somebody's brains, they kind of flash through that person's memory.
And this is where it's fuzzy, because there's no real indication of why the zombie we're following, why R is different. Mm-hmm. Like we know from his narration how he's different because we hear his thoughts, but it makes it sound like if you were eating brains, you would be experiencing what he's experiencing. But because basically he says that, feeling people's memories helps him keep his humanity a little bit. So they give that little explanation at the beginning that why this zombie seems a little more like a human is because he's been doing this. But surely all zombies are eating brains. So in that sense, it still doesn't. The movie never quite explains why R is different from all the other zombies, and it also never quite explains why, if love can kind of awaken the humanity in someone who's turned into a zombie, why hasn't it happened before with all the couples that were probably torn apart when one of them turned into a zombie, or all the families that were torn apart? But I don't think the movie really wants you to think too much about those mechanics.
No, I agree. I think it's kind of the thing where you just kind of accept it as it is and just not weigh it against something else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I don't feel like that's even spoiling anything. I think that's just the thing that you're told within
that's why
10
I say a slight spoiler. Like, it's not going to ruin the movie, but you
might just be surprised by like, oh, this is something that they're saying about how zombies experience eating brains. I mean, I don't know. I think there's the fact that they're not asking you to really commit to like the zombie mythology that most people, or that we all kind of think we know.
They even make a joke about it that at the beginning, actually, by saying like, we don't really know how this got started.
Yeah.
And they run down the list of a few possible, like, all the movies have like, oh, it's an airborne thing, or it's a rage disease, or it's radioactive embalming fluid, or whatever it's been. Like they make some quick allusions to that at the beginning, as far as like what caused this, we don't really know.
We don't really know. So you just kind of go with it, just kind of like you can accept that, and then you just kind of go along, because that's really not, the movie isn't really even about them being zombies. It definitely our environment that we're in, but it does transform into more of a just like a rom-com to me, and I think
there's a lot of moments.
There
like
is,
the audience
and there's a decent amount of laughs in the film. Rob Corddry's in the film. He gets a couple laughs as a zombie.
Is it the same
zombie friend?
Is it the same sort of person?
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how
Rob Corddry, like he always is.
Oh, he is, but it's different because he's playing as, like, I thought Rob Corddry was actually really good at bringing his Rob Corddryness to essentially a character who goes for most of the movie,
Sure.
And I thought his look, I thought Rob Corddry looked great as
I agree.
But yeah, it is interesting. Like, it's a funny performance, but even his part, which is not the main part of the movie, there's some pathos there. There's a little, you do come to feel sort of sorry for these zombies, And I think that at the risk of making it sound like the movie's trying to make some statement about modern life, they do try to sort of make a connection between the zombies, the way they are now, and the way they were before. That they were, there's an allusion to the fact that, like,
I like that part.
Like, before the zombie apocalypse happened, people were so isolated, and everybody's glued to their little personal device and walking around. Like, you get a sense that they weren't that different from zombies before the outbreak. And that was, I think, Shaun of the Dead had a similar note to it as well, where it takes him a while to figure out that the world has had a zombie outbreak. But no, in that sense, it was funny. It did work well, as comedically and romantically. I thought those were definitely the strengths of the movie. The zombie part is more of kind of like window dressing.
And it's funny, the part you just referenced, like, he kind of romanticizes what it used to be like, and like the voiceover is saying like how we were so connected and so conversational, and like it's like an airport where they're staying, and it's like everybody, as he's given us this picture of the way the world used to be, it's literally, like John said, everybody's on their cell phones, no one's acknowledging anybody, they're just in their own little bubble, and that's kind of funny to me. And I mean, I think it does speak to, like, there's a bigger picture going on. I think a little bit of social commentary about like connections to one another, and like love kind of being something that could and should and would reconnect you to someone or to society. And there's
and are we all not zombies of a sort, Steve?
Maybe John. I think I left the theater thinking that a little bit. I need to reevaluate my life and see if I'm aware of everything I need to be aware of, and feeling everything I need to be feeling.
It's deep, man.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you. But I don't know. I did enjoy Warm Bodies. It's nothing. I don't know that I feel like it's anything special.
Yeah.
I think it's something a little different, and it's fun. I mean, I think that
its reason for existing is exactly what you get from the trailer, which is, it's a zombie movie with the romantic comedy laid on top of it, or it's a romantic comedy where the divide between the two characters, maybe more to the point, is the fact that one of them's a zombie. So in that sense, it really is a sort of wrong side of the tracks kind of love story. But
but yeah, Nicholas Holt's pretty solid in it. Teresa Palmer, she's okay. I like her. Yeah. She's cool. I was gonna say Dave Franco, James Franco's brother, is in the movie. And
he's been in other things, right? I know.
Oh yeah, he's been in like the Fright Night remake. He's been in a couple other movies.
21 Jump Street.
Yeah, 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, every time I see him now, I cannot get this out of my head. I don't know if you guys go to funnyordie.com, like the Adam McKay, Will Ferrell site, whatever. There's a video series on there that you gotta need to check out. It's Dave Franco and Chris Mintz-Plasse, the guy who played McLovin. And the series is called You're So Hot. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
No.
I promise you, if you watch it, you'll never be able to see any of those characters in a movie again and not see them in those things. It's so inappropriate and just explicit. It's hilarious. I know that's a tangent, but everyone should go check that short out. There's two videos in the series. It's hilarious. But David Franco or Dave Franco, whatever he goes by. Nothing special in this film, in my opinion. But
we're right. Yeah,
in that series online, he's aces.
But I mean, it's not a role. Like that's not even a knock on him. It's not even a role that you would really have much of a chance to make an impression in. But.
No, he's just he's like a thread. He just connects the two of them together. But I don't know. I would check it out. It's in theaters now. Wide. It should be every theater, probably in your town. I'm really curious to see what this director Jonathan Levine does next. I've looking through his filmography because to go from like a film like 50-50, which is at times gets to be a pretty heavy film, and he had a couple films before then. The Whackness, which I thought was really cool.
I love The Whackness.
That was him.
It's one of my favorite movies. Of that year.
And All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, which is a really cool little horror film that came out about 2006, I think. So he's like all over the place. Like he's got like this horror film, he's got this really heavy human drama, he's got this like zom-com rom, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm curious what this guy's got going on, because I mean, he definitely, there's a voice there somewhere. I'm feeling. I'm just kind of like wondering where it's going to really kind of get honed in and see where. I'm always intrigued by like these directors that do all these different kinds of movies, and you're like, are they doing that to find like what their strength is, or to find where they really hit it out of the park? Or are they just genuinely that, like varied in what they want to say?
Yeah, it's true. It's true that like you would think that at some point you start to sort of you're impressed by someone who does that many different things, but you also don't really see a style, and it almost makes the person seem kind of like a
hack,
or like a journeyman or a director for hire or something
exactly.
like that. But
like
clearly, I mean, has he had a hand in all the screenplays that he's directed at this point?
Of the last two films, I know that he had a hand, I believe, in 50-50 and for Warm Bodies. I don't think All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, but I think he had a hand in The Whackness. But I don't know. I mean, he's definitely involved in these films beyond just being a hired director. But it's just there's really cool things going on in all those films I just mentioned, and including Warm Bodies. So I'm just kind of like, this is a guy that obviously has there's connections going on here. That I'm always just like kind of curious and lookout for like the new directors that are out there. There are some more successful that we've referenced recently, like Rian Johnson and. I forget who else I've talked about recently, but I mean, the guys that did, what's his name? The guy that did Chronicle. He's doing the new Fantastic Four movie. I mean, these new directors coming on the scene. So I don't know. I'm just curious to see what does next. I mean, this is kind of an interesting film. Like I said, different than anything he's done prior, and it's kind of cool to see directors come along that kind of try to change it up or mix it up to. I don't know if it's meant to throw me off or what, but
worth seeing, not worth seeing?
I'd recommend. I would, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like I said. I don't think if I'm going on a scale of I know we don't like usually associate stars or numbers, but I work really well off of those kinds of scales personally when trying to explain to somebody just for perspective. I mean, I would. This film for me.
I'd give this one number stars.
Yeah, I think this movie. I think this movie on a scale of 1 to 10, it would probably be somewhere in the sevens, low sevens.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Because it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad film. It's nothing special that would warrant going closer to 10. But at its best, I think it's like it's a safe film that you could go and just be like, that was good.
Yeah, if you were to extrapolate the plot from the trailer, you would be dead on.
Yeah,
everything as it is laid out in the trailer is exactly the way the movie kind of.
It's
unfolds.
not misrepresented at all.
In the tradition of movies we've been seeing lately, it's a short film. It's only like hour and 35 minutes or something like that.
35.
So you don't really have time to get bogged down in what might be the worst thing about it, which is just that it's kind of predictable. But otherwise, it's got a lot of charm. And it might be we have one more. What is it? World War Z? Is that coming out this year?
Yeah.
Is there anything else on the? I sort of hope there aren't any other
Any more
movies
zombie
for a
movies?
while.
I think we're
I don't think
zombied out.
that there's such a thing as an original spin on it right
Besides
now.
the Walking Dead coming back on air, I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think that's gonna
February,
be it.
right?
I think so. Yeah.
So soon.
Check it out. It's in theaters now. Before we head out of the episode, we were going to kind of like tease an upcoming episode that we're going to be doing around Valentine's Day.
Will it be the episode? Our Valentine's episode will actually be the day after Valentine's Day.
Right, yeah, it'll be so after you went and had your great night with
Yes.
your significant other, you can come back and kind of be like, "Hey, it's weekend. You know what we're gonna do this Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Let's maybe get a good rom-com.
Or just like we always do, let's download the latest episode of the Movie Schmovie podcast.
There you go.
Turn off all
Of
the
course, that
lights,
comes
unplug the
first.
phones, and listen to the podcast.
And let us talk you to sleep.
Yes,
Right?
The sweet sound of Ronald's voice.
that's why we always throw to Ronald at the end of an episode, just because he's the one who
Send
puts
it home.
He's the one who puts it to bed.
Yep. With some oh God, I'm not gonna say
Inappropriate.
it.
No, save it up for a second.
stop it.
Let me get out our let me get out the need it tag here.
Yeah.
Which is that we're gonna utilize the Google Voice line again. Basically, I mean, John, I don't know if you want to kind of give it the idea behind the upcoming episode to see what.
Well, are we going to do straight romantic comedies? Just people's favorite straight romantic.
Yeah, I mean,
comedies?
we're gonna probably go in a couple different directions for the episode,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think the safest bet is we're gonna just turn the line back on. So if you guys want to call in, again, it's 443-330-2462.
That's right.
And you'll hear the voicemail and you can leave a message. And we're basically just looking for what your go-to rom-com is.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago we were asking for your favorite movie of 2012, and it was the same thing. We just want you to say who you are, name the movie, and say a little something about why you like it so much. But this time it's your favorite romantic comedy or romantic movie. I would say we can extend it maybe to just romance in general, but
Yeah. Because sometimes you want to laugh with your romance, but sometimes you just want to feel the romance.
Yeah.
And,
Right. Pretty
I know
Woman.
that's how usually Ronald is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, Pretty Woman wasn't funny, but it had some romantic elements. Lots of them. Prostitute-y ones, right? That's what we like, right?
you saw Pretty Woman, right?
Yeah.
You know who's in it?
Julia Roberts. Oh, God, what's it?
How's it end?
How's it end?
You haven't seen
They
Pretty
get
Woman.
married. They get married, right?
But yeah, I think Pretty Woman has funny elements in it as well. I would
Yeah.
say it's a
I
rom-com.
think that's what he was going for. Was that
Then
it was
Runaway
still,
and then Runaway Bride was the same people, right?
except nobody wanted to see that movie.
Yeah.
Right. What the hell's his name, man?
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere. That's what it was.
A buddy of mine sent me
Richard Gere has a
the
creepy
PDF
face.
of the original script to Pretty Woman, and it was called $3,000. And it was
Really?
not the same movie. I mean, it was the
Oh,
same
serious?
movie, but it was much more. You could imagine them having it like, for instance, like her drug addiction and her status as a prostitute is much more sort of gritty throughout the
Wow.
movie.
Oh, man.
So that's an interesting case where I think I don't know if it was the casting or the directing, but the script got taken in a slightly more
They softened it up a little bit.
slightly more appealing direction. Like the
Good.
the movie, it's very similar
The
except
fact
for
that
the
it was
end.
called $3,000.
Yeah, well, that tells you a little something, right?
But yeah,
It
back
should-
to our thing.
Yeah.
We
They
want you to call in and tell us your favorite romantic comedy or just romance
romantic
film,
movie, yeah.
whatever is your go-to. When you
And if,
try
and if you do choose a movie that's one of those makes you cry type romances, maybe say what it is you like about that type of movie, because I find that I don't watch a lot of those dramas that are just designed to make me cry
Yeah.
because they work too well on me
anymore.
anymore. No, I don't have any tears left.
Yeah,
Steve.
you've just been all cried
I'm
out.
all cried out.
But yeah, we're gonna keep the line open for you. We'll talk about it again in the next episode. But on the 15th, I think we're gonna
Yeah.
do this episode. And so as long as you can have your choices in, I would say by the I guess the morning of Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
On the 14th, so we can try to include you. And we do a pretty good job of trying to include everybody. So
Yeah, this last time, a few people made it in right under the wire, so we
Yeah.
will work with you.
yeah, we want you to be a part of this podcast.
Yes, we do.
Please. Again, it's 443-330-2462. The movie hotline.
Mhm.
We have a hotline.
We do have a hotline. I'm proud of that.
It'd be cool if we could like hook a phone up to it, like a bat phone,
Yeah.
and just kind of forward all the Google Voice numbers to
You
it.
have reached Schmovie phone.
But yeah, please call in. Let us know what you think. This is a very we've done a really good job of keeping this episode quick, which I like.
Yeah.
You listen to this on the go on a one-way drive to work, maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hopefully you fit it in there real quick.
Maybe you're on the treadmill.
Maybe it all works. It all works. You know what I mean? Brevity. That's what we're trying to work towards.
So we simultaneously said you guys should listen to this, and also you should listen to it while you're trying to lose some weight because you're fat.
Yeah,
right.
basically.
Is that what we're saying?
2 birds, 1 stone.
We're sort of here to deliver the harsh truths that you might not want to deliver to yourself.
So there you go. You're welcome.
Do that. Get exercising. Here's the thing.
Valentine's Day's coming up.
It's coming up. Do it soon. Do it soon. It's important. I was thinking of something. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I hope you don't get offended by this. I've been losing a lot of weight lately.
I'm offended.
How dare you?
And the weird thing is, all my dick fat hasn't gone away. It's just all there. Just still girthy and great. It hasn't lost its fat. Is that weird? Is that weird how that works?
Is it weird? There's a few questions there, Ronald.
Is it that your dick fat hasn't gone away, or the fat around your dick has and just makes it look bigger?
Are we talking about the sort of the fat at the base, or are you talking about the actual? You're saying your penis itself has retained its girth. I think that's normal, Ronald. I don't think anybody loses weight off their dick.
I saw this documentary where this guy had gotten so big that his penis lost its form. It was just like a slab of pancake fat. Like it was just like this is a flat pancake with a dick hole, which is very weird. It was very strange.
So as always, folks.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and as always, you've made our day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for putting up with this.
Anybody in the mood for pancakes?
Yeah.